Listen, man, they call me the problem, but you could call me the can man, because anybody can get it. Africans, Americans, Dominicans, Mexicans.
How you doing, everyone? My name is Ryan, and this is Ade, and welcome back to another edition of Boxtalk. You know, it's time for This Week in Boxing. A lot of news, a lot of reviews, a lot of stuff. So let's kick it off, Ade. Let's start with last night's fights. Let's start with the big one. Arthur Abraham versus Paul Smith.
Look, first of all, credits to Paul Smith.
Yeah.
We done the video. You said he had a chance, and I was like, I don't know. I think Arthur Abraham's at a level above. He's not.
Yeah.
That's very clear. First and foremost, Arthur Abraham is not. Yeah. Whoever fights Arthur Abraham next is taking that title. Yeah. I don't care where it is. If he fights anyone of note, that title's gone.
Like I said before, I thought Abraham's career since the Super 6 has been strategic, very strategic, where they're picking certain fighters. So I thought I had it very, very hard to rate him as a top elite super middleweight. Even though he is a world champion, I just wasn't too sure what he had left. Yeah. The scorecards were okay. I thought Abraham's won by maybe a round.
Yeah, I mean, it was
a very close fight.
I watched it when I watched it first. And then I thought Abraham won by a round. Watched it again. I thought he could have won it by 2. Yeah, one of those ones. Yeah.
But the scorecards were ridiculous. As soon as the scorecard was released, I tweeted like those judges should be banned. 119-19 is an insult.
Yeah, you're giving him one round. And
this is the reason why 10, 15 years ago, no one wanted to go to Germany to fight, because they give you those dodgy scorecards.
And the funny thing is, with that Germany stuff, you're right, but in recent times, it's got better.
Yeah, it's got much better.
You can go over there and it was a normal result. You know what I mean? We've had it before, the likes of Matthew Macklin and Martin Merry, but yesterday was a disgrace. Thing for Paul Smith is where he goes next. See, the thing is, obviously, a lot of people come out now and say he's world level. Yeah. One good performance doesn't make you world level. It's consistency against the world's best. Anyone can step. I think most people can step up for one good performance.
Yeah. You're right. It is consistency, and like I said before, I weren't sold on Abraham no more. Yeah. So as much as Paul Smith done very, very well, as I weren't sold on Abraham, I can't be overly sold on Paul.
We talked about after the George Groves fight, who does Rebrasse fight next?
Yeah.
I don't know if George Groves vacates the European, which he probably will do. Yeah. Rebrasse Paul Smith for a European could be a good shout. You know what I mean? Or even Paul Smith. Maybe trying to get a return against George Groves. I don't think George Groves will take the fight, but there's fights out there for Paul Smith now.
Last night, Trevoris Cloud versus the Russian kid that I can't pronounce his name.
Yeah. Right. I'm joking.
This guy apparently beat Kovalev in the amateurs, and last night I just think he just put on a statement out there saying that, you mentioned before when we talked about Lemachenko, once you got that amateur background and experience, 1 fight or 5 fights, if you got it, you got it.
See, this is the difference. I think promoters over there are taking those risks, and then it's the risk with rewards. Yeah. Trevoris Cloud, as you know, is a former world champion, only been beaten by Hopkins and only been by Adonis Stevenson. So, you know what I mean? We're not talking he's beaten by bums. For this guy to go in there in his 6th fight and knock him out in 2, not just knock him out, you'll watch the fight, and if you haven't watched it yet, he actually steamrolled him. It wasn't a case of, like Adonis Stevenson, I'm going to catch you. It was boxing at its best. Remember, this guy's got good amateur world champion experience. And it's like that Eastern European domination we spoke about. They're coming through now. GGG, Lemachenko, Kovalev. Now this kid, bloody hell.
It's amazing. Friday night, Roy Jones with a first round stoppage body shot. I'm happy Roy got the win, but I don't really want to see Roy fighting no more. But at this level, what can you say?
I was, I get excited when I see Roy Jones. Remember, I got excited a few years back when he beat Jeff Lacey. I was like, oh my God, he's back! Look, not many cruiserweights are going to want to step in there with him,
Yeah.
In a weird, like, you're not going to risk a name against Roy Jones Jr. You ain't looking at him for a name. That body shot was dead. And he kept on going for the body. It was sweet.
The thing with Roy Jones, again, it's not that his skills have deteriorated that bad, but he was so good.
Yeah. That's
the problem. It's not that he's that bad, it's just he was so good. And because of the Joe McKenna thing, they were best friends, and Roy said he doesn't get knocked out, and because he had the bad stoppages, it makes you worry for him. But, like I said,
if they keep matching Roy like this, like who are we to say someone should stop? If they keep matching like this in those kind of far out regions, then I'll have a couple more. It was Courtney Fry before that, it was this guy then. Keep doing it, Roy.
Alright then, let's go with the news. Let's start straight away with this week's controversy. We got the Billy Joe Saunders, Chris Eubank Jr. The fight was announced. Press conference was announced. Chris didn't turn up. Turns out there was no signed contract. What do you think?
First thing that comes to mind when this happens is that I now realize in life there are definitely 2 sides to every story. When we went there and we were in the press conference, we was all like anti-Chris Eubank. And everyone was like, how dare you do this? And blah. And everyone was anticipating, okay, Chris talk, say something, defend yourself. soon as that one tweet came through, that I've not even signed a contract, they're rushing me, blah. Kind of feel like
I think he said that Frank tried to make me sign a contract without my lawyer present.
You kind of feel like, okay, what's going on there? I think you even mentioned, how can you kind of make a press conference on a fight that's not been signed? It is almost trying to pressure and get the public to pressure someone to fight.
Yeah, you know.
Does that normally happen?
No, it does actually happen. I remember when Pacquiao fought someone a few years ago, the contract wasn't signed until like 2 weeks before the actual fight. Yeah. So sometimes fights are arranged already, but because of sponsorship, because of promotions, blah, 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 the contracts are saved for the final dates to be put in. So I do understand of signing late contracts, but the agreement wasn't even in place, it seems like. Yeah. I mean, I think there's faults on both sides, on Frank Warren's side and on Chris Eubank Jr. Because all week there's been press clippings about the fight. Chris didn't say one thing. Chris should have said, boy, why are you talking about his fight for? This fight's not been agreed yet. Yeah. He waited to the last minute. So on his side, that's where I think his fault is. On Frank's side, like I said, he should have delayed the press conference and said, look, not do it on Monday, try to do it on Friday to get more time to get it done. Yeah,
you kind of feel like the fight would have been, it's November the 25th, so you've still got a lot of time in between.
Got a lot of time,
There's no need to kind of do that press conference if it hasn't been signed. But I do feel that a verbal agreement was done. No, for him to do that, I feel
that's what I said. More or less, verbal agreement was done, but like Frank said, they were making adjustments and changes with it. So once you got the verbal agreement, you could sign the press conference. But from time you knew that there was going to be a problem and Chris was going to turn up, I think he should have delayed it and sent out a release saying, sorry guys, we've been delayed until Friday or next Monday due to complications with the contract. I
think this kind of hype, even if the fight does go ahead, and I really hope it does, just adds to it for me. Yeah. It really does add to it. It's the best fight on the card by far, I think.
I tell you what, I was so happy last Sunday when we done the video about this fight. And then Tuesday, I'm kind of like, oh man.
And now it's kind of like, will it happen? Won't it happen? Thing is, Frank Warren said it, if he doesn't fight Chris Eubank, he fights for a world title.
Yeah, and
we were guessing. Yeah, we were guessing Danny Jacobs, Kobrov, either one of those two. It's either a regular title or it's Kobrov. Yeah, or an interim of some sort. I don't think he's fighting for legit.
I think the good thing about this whole fight is right now that they said they're going to announce at 5 o'clock who the new opponent is, and they haven't, which means negotiations are still ongoing.
Yeah, it was like a who shot JR. Everyone was waiting on Twitter. Everyone was waiting on Twitter. Canelo signed that agreement with HBO, similar to kind of Floyd's agreement. Yeah, it is. 3 fights a year. Yeah, that's strange.
That is it. Funny thing about this whole HBO contract was Steven Espinosa. Soon as it came over, he started going, Oscar's disloyal and Oscar's this, and he thought he had an agreement, so on and so. Espinosa did the same thing when he took the whole Golden Boy card, Stable and Floyd to Showtime, and it was a business move. It was a great coup, it was a great strategic business. And that's all down to him. He's crying.
I love it. It's almost HBO Golden Boy kind of fighting back now. Yeah. And to me, they are I mean, Top Rank have been around longer, but they are Golden Boy are kind of that stable that I kind of like a lot. I don't know what it is. So it's them fighting back. They want the dates on the same time as Mayweather, which is him versus Mayweather. And I feel like if anyone can outdo Mayweather on the same day, it's Canelo coming.
It's a Mexican holiday with a Mexican fighter.
You can't. He says, I want that day back.
Yeah, that's what it goes. No, me personally, ask anyone knows me, I hate crybabies. I hate people that moan and moan and moan. And Espinosa is just moaning. You know what I mean? You can't take 40 fighters, 50 fighters, and someone takes one. And you have a meltdown.
But it shows the kind of position boxers in at the moment. Yeah. You know, we say one and it is only one. Yeah. But right now, you take away Pacquiao, Mayweather and Cotto, this is probably the only pay-per-view star they've got coming through in terms of who can fill that gap. He's the only one.
Yeah. Mayweather went to the Nevada Commission and said basically the whole show was fake. The weed was fake, the sparring was fake and everything. Then I was reading Gabe Montoya's tweets, and he said one time he was at Wildcard Gym and he watched them film Freddie Roach enter the gym 4 times just to get it right. Does that mean any? Okay, we said before. I've said that Mayweather's strength might be weakening. I think this really put damage to his reputation.
You know what it is? It puts damage to his reputation because he's the executive producer, I think, of All Access as well. But what it does for most is that, we know, it's kind of theatrical stuff, so we know it ain't all real. But when you talk about the 31-minute round, I was watching it thinking that was real, the Doghouse. When they talk about him smoking weed, are they trying to, almost like this build-up of characters, it's not real. And I find it really hard to take.
And another thing as well, I thought from the commission, they just took me with his word, like, oh, that was all fake. Like, all right then. No, it could have been real, but either way, his life to protect himself or whatever, which is, anyone will do it to protect themselves. I'm just saying, it just shows that the level of these only thing that counts in boxing is the actual fight. All the pre-videos, all the interviews, all the stuff out there that I'm trying to say is nice, But like I said, it's to build hype.
Yeah, to be fair, though, we did mention this years ago that there's two Mayweathers.
Yeah.
There's a guy that does the fighting and there's the guy behind scenes that we actually generally think is probably a nice guy that just has to sell fights. No one sells them better like him. No one's probably ever sold them better like him. So I guess now we know those all-access 24/7 things are not real.
Not real at all. What else have I got here? Chris Algieri.
Yeah.
He seems like a nice guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like to wipe me up.
Yeah. Ain't he's going a little too far. My best beats Pacquiao. He really thinks like it's a one-sided fight.
Yeah. I appreciate confidence. You know, another thing for this, it's like they've started this press tour for this. Feels like they've built this fight for about a year.
Yeah.
Feels like it's gone on for so long to the point where I have to check, okay, when is the actual fight?
Right, yeah.
I'm actually kind of bored of it. And look, you beat Vodnikov, decent.
Yeah.
I mean, Pacquiao is a whole another level for fighter. Do you know what I mean?
I think Cashew is a good story. I think it's a good story for boxing. I'm trying to say, especially his comeback from that first round and that swollen eye. Man, you got to give the guy mad props. But I mean, his press clippings are just like ridiculous. It's just non-stop now.
In terms of kind of old names coming back, I say old names, it's wrong to put Jed Dawson in that. I think he fights this Saturday, or is it October the 4th he fights. He's come back at 175, thank God. I do think the light heavyweight division needs a few more people.
Yeah.
It's strange. Obviously, Hopkins is 49, Stevenson's like 35, 36 getting on. Kovalev isn't young either as well. It kind of needs those people. So that new kid that beat Tavares Kelly, Chad Dawson come back. Pascal's finally starting to talk a bit more. If he can come back. Samuel Peters came back and won.
I didn't know who he was.
Yeah.
I didn't know
Mayorga came back. I haven't checked the result, but Mayorga came back. He's always interesting, just for the press conferences alone.
Just a few quick bits. For James Kirkland pulls out of the fight with Rosado.
Quick bit. I think this might take about a minute. Look, that's the same. I don't know what's going on with that one.
Yeah. People
said, like, supposedly TV execs are not happy with Joshua Clottey versus Canelo, so they're trying to get Kirkland in as a replacement. Supposedly, Austin De La Hoya's come out and said, look, he doesn't want to fight at 160, even though the fight is at 157 catch weight. And finally, he's come out and said 50 Cent's taking too much money for the fight.
Yeah.
So it's all over the place, and that's Kirkland's career. That's the problem with Kirkland. It's all like that.
Yeah.
Just fight.
We had a potential fight of the year candidate. That would have been a bomb burner, to say the least. And like now it's off completely. Interesting point. Rigo. We've done he was supposed to fight Chris Avalos.
Yeah.
And Avalos is now going to another direction. They said so the fight's off.
Can't blame him.
So now Rigo's team is saying they want to get Scott Quigg.
Yeah.
But what I found interesting was that the purse split for Rigo for a world champion pound for pound, he was going to get £238,000. Yeah? That just shows what I was saying before, yeah, is that why these guys who want to take the risk could get Rigo over in the UK, force kick over for cheap.
Really, for cheap. Eddie Hearn might talk, and I expect him to because he's a fantastic talker. There is no way they're taking Scott Quigg or Rigo.
No.
It's just ridiculous. They're just not taking that risk. Rigo's, I think they're going to wait maybe a year or a couple more years for him to get a bit older. He is quite old. Someone else to take him, then they might try.
Rigo's got a promoter right now, but it's not a marquee promoter. Yeah. Someone will sign Rigo to a big contract shortly, and then the money's going to be ridiculous. Yeah. If you want to get Rigo and you want to make some decent change and maybe get a career high payday, because if that's what he's getting right now, if you bring him over, you could make a huge payday. Yeah.
Talking about that super bantamweight division, Mick Hennessy, I'm not quite sure how the story to take it, said that we're going to make a huge offer for Kid Galahad versus Scott Quigg. Sometimes I think he just says these things to stay relevant, because Kid Galahad, they're not going to take it again. They're not going to take Wyatt. I mean, what does Scott Quigg get for that fight? Do you know what I mean? It's nothing. There's all risk and no reward for me for fighting Kid Galahad. So I think that's a risk they're not going to take as well.
Two quick bits, and just Wallace Deverne apparently signed for the 13th or 20th of December. Yeah. I think that's quite good.
It's true, because everyone was saying, and I read it online as well, it didn't go to purse bids, they kind of accepted. Yeah. And they were saying, literally, they were scared if it did go to purse bids, that Jay-Z's company would have won the purse bid. That they would have literally bid everything. Because that fight was never going to get agreed. It was 100% going to go purse bids, because them two just couldn't agree. But Al Heyman supposedly put out a little thing there saying it's literally because they thought Jay-Z's company would have broken everyone out the wall.
Apparently, Al Heyman doesn't like Jay-Z. From the Beyonce beef.
Doesn't like his music either.
Also, Benny Kevin signed.
Yeah, finally. Yeah, this doesn't have the lust for me. It's going to be a good scrap, but what does it really mean? I mean, they're trying to say the winner should get a cruiserweight belt, or fight for a cruiserweight title. Really? Yeah. Offer a lot. Alabi kills both of those for me. Oh, yeah. Hernandez obviously puts him to sleep. Huck puts him to sleep. for me, not yet. I think Bentley's probably going to take this and he could move forward because I don't think Cleverly wants it anymore, but for me, no.
When I look at, as it stands right now, when I look at Cleverly, I don't see a cruiserweight. Bentley looks like a cruiserweight. He looks a little thicker, a little stronger.
Definitely.
But I bet Cleverly still looks like a light heavyweight.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it from me.
Yeah, that's it. Look, again, sorry guys, run over time again. There's so much. It honestly is ridiculous. If you guys were to see his phone and what he's got there, you have to say some stuff. We might have to start doing a midweek one or something.
Yeah.
But look, guys, thanks for watching. Email us at
boxtalk@hotmail.co.uk and don't forget to follow us on Twitter at boxtalkuk.
Also, guys, don't forget to check out a new website for boxing, fightguru.com. Great guy. Check out his website. Loads of boxing stuff there. And also, guys, don't forget to subscribe. Our Twitter numbers are growing. Subscribers are growing. Thank you so much. And thanks for watching another edition of This Is Boxing at Boxtalk.